I was not expecting that. And I still don't know how I feel about it. I think we will figure it out in this video because I haven't written a script. I'm just going to be watching it again and reviewing it as I go along. Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to the channel of Delusional Theories, where we're going through a sad phase because of the Portuguese elections. My name is Joe and I review every single TV show on TV ever. And if you weren't here yesterday and if you didn't hear my rant, click here, great political rant. Bottom line is on Sunday there were elections in my country. Nothing much changed apart from the fact that the far right extremist fascist political party gained 8 to 10 more seats in parliament, and now they are part of the opposition and they have significant power in what gets approved in assembly, and we're all thinking that we're going to go to elections again next year because this government is not going to work, and next year people are going to allow this right-wing extremist fascist party to win. And yes, I'm going to be very deranged in this video because yesterday I was crying a lot, and today I'm planning my departure. I'm not. I think that's a sad thing. Like, I keep thinking, and I was talking to a friend of mine from Romania yesterday about this. I keep thinking that like in 10, 15, 20 years, I could be, tortured and assaulted and end up dead in a political prison. Because I just can't seem to shut the hell up. Like, this is also not good for my, YouTube career to be so political and be so open about how much I hate fascism. But here we are, and I'm going to review this episode of The Handmaid's Tale because honestly, this is what I said in my video yesterday. That The Last of Us episode 6 came just at about the right time, and this episode where they kill them, and they punch them, and they revolt, and they do all of this, I needed it. Like, when I saw the people on the ground being like, oh my god, those are American airplanes, and then them dropping the bombs on Gilead, I was like, yes, please destroy Gilead. Let's talk about it. Oh, first things first, the moment. I'm not a Swiftie. I'm not like obsessed with Taylor Swift, but I have come around after watching the documentary and I really like it. I like some of her music. I don't listen to all of it, but I like some of it. And when it started with "Look What You Made Me Do," I was like, this was the moment. I've been crying for days. I was crying even before we had the results of the elections because it was like the vibe was in the air. Everyone kind of knew. Like, I've had a conversation before with a very nice guy from my town that was thinking of voting for this fascist party. And this is my thing. Like, if the nice guys, if the good people are already voting for this political party is being very successful in manipulating people who are working class, overworked, afraid of the future. If they are already convincing those people, they're doing a great job and they're going to win eventually, and we're going to have to flee the country or something. I won't flee. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, Look What You Made Me Do. Loved it. The moment it started playing, I felt like my soul returning to me. Because yes, we need a pop anthem to become a revolutionary song where we turn to our oppressors and say, look what you made me do. You didn't want to die? You should have never oppressed me. So I enjoy that. And yes, I listened to the song over and over again about 5 times after the episode was over because, well, like, I cannot tell you the joy, the pure joy I felt when Serena was running through the streets and we see a handmaid literally stabbing a wife right then and there. Joy. Pure joy. I've been waiting for this for how many years? Pure joy. And then later on, during the hanging rebellion thing, we see a handmaid, like a guard. Pure joy. Pure joy. And you know what? In this song, there's these lyrics that are like, how is it? Like, I invited you for dinner and then you stole the keys to my kingdom. Or something like that. And it's just like, I just feel it, because it's like we live in a democratic country, and at one point this fascist party applied, because they have to, the political parties have to be approved by the constitutional court, or I don't know how to translate it. And they applied and failed a few times. And then at one point the court approved this party to exist, this fascist party that is not constitutional. In fact, there's the threat that they might want to change the constitution. This won't happen. I hope this won't happen, because there's this is scary, because there are political commentators everywhere, and there are a few that are trustworthy and a few that are not. But I've seen maybe a couple of trustworthy political commentators being like, there's a reasonable doubt here, because the right wing in the assembly has 2/3 of the assembly. They have enough people that they can revise the constitution. And we know, because two very important things that are protected in the constitution is the public healthcare system and the public education system. And we know that this fascist leader is like a Trump minion, a Trump wannabe. So you see how this could be problematic. But anyway, the music just spoke to me, because it's like, we invited you into our democracy. The constitutional court approved your political party to exist. And that's basically what he's trying to do. He was invited to the dining table to have an equal position as everyone else, and he's going to take over the table in the house and expel everyone else from it. So I appreciated this song here very, very much. Thank you, Taylor Swift. Thank you, Handmaid's Tale team. Thank you. The way that it's been 7 minutes and I've only talked about the introduction, I'm so sorry. This is going to be a long video. Who betrayed them is my question, because I was thinking this the whole episode, and it's not clear to me. Let me know in the comments if it's clear to you, if I'm missing something here, because who betrayed them? In the very beginning of the episode, we see them in the trucks, because they ran, ran, and they went into the trucks, and the trucks were going to that checkpoint that we've seen 1,000 million times. It's where Nick went to meet Mark before, and they're going to meet they're going to meet someone to take them out of Gilead, because the Exodus is the Exodus of the handmaids, thankfully. And Gilead is there waiting for them. And the whole episode I was thinking, oh, it was Lawrence. Lawrence betrayed them. Lawrence was the one who told them that they would be there, so he would be included in the conversation, so that he would be trusted. And then I was thinking, oh, was it Nick? But Nick was at the hospital with Rose. But I mean, he was sleeping on his papers before he went there. Listen, I don't know who betrayed them. I don't know if maybe Gilead figured it out and took out the transport truck before the handmaids got there. Someone betrayed them is this is what I'm thinking, because I mean, there's episode 10 still to come. Think about it. Who betrayed them? And it couldn't have been Lawrence, because Lawrence now is dead. So like, there wouldn't be such a big impact for Revelation. It couldn't have been Nick, because Nick is dead. Oh my God. I will talk about this. I will talk about all of this. Just give me a second. So, how were they there? Because we see them coming after them, right? That's when they explode the bombs on the road to let them pass through. But I mean, how did they figure it out from them escaping from that position that they were going to go to that checkpoint? How did they figure it out? And how were they there before, waiting for them? Who betrayed them? Who else knew the plan and ratted and told them for their own benefit? Like, this is what I'm thinking. What's the plot of episode 10? If there's not a mole, if there's not a traitor among the goddamn resistance. Right? Right? Am I delusional? Am I just too paranoid because I'm thinking of all the horrible scenarios now that my country is falling into fascism? I feel like I'm going through a manic state where I was really sad and crying, and now I'm like, okay, let's fight this. I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry that the combination of this video and my previous video are going to be completely deranged, but yeah, I'm gonna feel my emotions. Anyway, I think there's a traitor. I think that's going to be like a big plot point of episode 10 is them realizing that there was a traitor, because everything happened very fast. Like they were arrested at the checkpoint, then they went to the hanging, and then the revolution started, and then the plan and the bomb in the plane. I'll talk about it. So everything happened really fast. I don't think that I was just about to say Elizabeth Moss. I don't think that June had the time to really like stop and think about how Gilead was waiting for them at the goddamn checkpoint, because it's also so, like, by the end of the episode, it feels like it was 100 years ago because so much happens. So I'm thinking, who the hell did it? Because it doesn't make sense for Lawrence, because they finalized this arc as an ally. Like, I'll talk about it. But anyway, give me your theories in the comments of who you think betrayed the resistance. It has to be someone inside Mayday or something like that. I mean, I don't think it would have been the CIA agent slash aunt. Bad bitch, I love you. I don't think it would have been anyone in June's inner circle. I think it's maybe like an anonymous character or like a background character that we're going to meet in episode 10 and then be introduced as an antagonist for the Testaments or something like that. But anyway, I can't believe Nick is dead. This is how we conclude his arc? This is how we do it? I'll get to it. In this moment, before we move on from them being captured, in this moment when they are in the vans and June and Moira and the CIA agent are saying, okay, we're going to stop at the next point to pick up the handmaids that are posted and just did the attack on the commanders, and then we're going to go. And this is the point where June, Moira, and the CIA agent leave. What's her name? Ava. And Ava leave because they're going to go back and continue the rebellion inside Gilead. And why is my video so slow? Okay. And Janine is like, I'll stay too. And I was like, no, you don't. No, you don't, Janine. No, you don't. And then she said, because Charlotte. And I was like, of course. And honestly, when I cannot believe that Lawrence sent Charlotte away. And like, I was hopeful with you guys that he would be the one to, take Charlotte to Janine, but we're not going to get that. And there was one commenter who said, oh, maybe Charlotte is going to be like one of the girls from the Testaments. And I think that's so correct, because Nicole is in Alaska. And did you see that? In the hanging? They took Commander Wharton and they took Janine. Didn't they? Where is she? Like, I'm going to rewatch it again while I'm recording, but I mean, they took her. That she was one of the handmaids that they took. No one killed the guards that was taking her, so they have her. Remember that I was talking about June's instincts, that she has a very like good instinct for situations of danger in Gilead. Like, when they are stopped at the checkpoint, when they are going to, get the handmaids at the postings, baby girl knows. Like, the moment there's this beat, this delay, she knows that something is wrong. And then we get this scene of them huddled against a wall and the guard saying, where is June Osborne? She knows she's who they want. And it's like, I mean, I see what they're doing. It's a parallel to that scene where Nick gave away the women in the Jezebels. Like, he gave away the plans, and June has the same opportunity, the opportunity to hide behind all of these handmaids and, like, not reveal her position, and they're going to kill them one by one if she doesn't reveal who she is. And she doesn't. She just steps forward, probably to her death, and reveals who she is. And I mean, I wouldn't have expected anything from her. And I know that maybe some people will see this as a way of the writers justifying what happened to Nick. We'll talk about it. But I think this is congruent with June's character. June isn't the kind of person who will sacrifice other people for herself. So, I mean, how many times has she sacrificed herself and she stayed behind in Gilead? So I do understand her position, and I don't think it's out of character for her. I think it's exactly what anyone would have expected her to do. When she said, check my tag, because she never took it off, and we get the information from Naomi that the handmaids were successful in taking out 37 commanders. Honestly, good honest work. Good good work for one night. And I mean, how funny that Naomi says how many commanders were taken out, but no word about the wives, because we know that wives have died, because surely that one handmaid wasn't the only one who thought of going for the wives next. So little funny detail right there, that the center of Gilead is men, to the point that if women die, it doesn't really matter, even if they're wives. And here we see when Naomi is talking to Serena, they're discussing the commanders that just died. We see how Serena is still like changing positions, still aligning more with the values of Mayday and the rebellion and June. And she discusses with Naomi this thing of course they rebel, like they're not animals, they're not monsters, of course they're doing this, like given how much they were abused. And I will never, and we see Serena later on also be like convinced by June to give away the position of the commanders, to be convinced by June to basically align with Mayday. Like after she did this, there's no way they're ever going to forgive her. Like she's going to become a target to Gilead for sure as well. And the way that June convinces her is a similar way that she convinces Aunt Lydia, is through the love of God. So we see this Serena redemption arc, which I can't stand behind to a certain extent, but I mean, come on. They're never going to be besties. Serena is never, ever, ever going to be able to repay for everything that she did. And she can spend her whole life trying to, and I would understand that. And I would want her to do that. But I think I wanted to have done this video like last week, but a lot of shit happened and I couldn't. The possibility for redemption for a lot of people is limited by how serious and severe the consequences of what they did are. Like, I understand that they can get redemption and they can do the right thing after their circumstances change, because this is what happens to Serena. She doesn't change her mind from a place of empathy towards the other people. She changes her mind because she is becoming the other people, because she finds herself in a position to be the handmaid to someone else. So it's not that she developed empathy for other people, it's that she literally felt what it was like for them a little bit, not even that much. So her change doesn't come from anything within her. It came from circumstances outside of herself. And of course, her personality and her choices also have an influence, because another person who was put in her position could have decided completely differently. But yeah, this is what we see for Serena in this episode, is like the finalization of her redemption arc, of her completely aligning, not completely, but understanding that she has to align with Mayday and giving the position of the commanders away. I'm okay with this. I don't love it. I have complicated feelings for Serena and all the wives, but I am okay with this, because in the end she was like, this is what I wanted for Nick. If you watched my videos before, this is what I wanted for Nick. I wanted Nick to be in a position where he has so much information about Gilead and he can use it to help Mayday and help the US Army. This is what I wanted to happen to Nick. And it kind of happened to Serena and a little bit to Lawrence. I'm okay with Serena's arc. That's what I mean. And honestly, I thought that this whole thing of trying to build another side for Wharton was so completely wasted, because it started with him talking to Serena and Serena explaining to him that she doesn't want a handmaid, that the changes that she wants for the country, she actually wants for the country. She doesn't want the handmaids to like go through that. And like throughout the entirety of the episode, we see like these little sides of Wharton where he relents to trying it with Serena instead when he goes to June and he isn't. When he goes to June and he listens to her as she talks to him about love, the love of God. And I mean, at the end, he's still a commander and he's still hanging the handmaids, but there was kind of this side that they tried with him in this episode of him listening to these women and having conversations with these women. And I don't know where they were trying to go with it, because what did he do in the end? He's dead in the sky. Was it just to show us that despite how much these women tried to bring him down to earth, to show him that he can have a critical thinking mind and detach himself from the brutality of this system and actually make good choices, that despite these women asking him to do this, that he will still be commander and decide to hang handmaids? Like, was that the point? Just to show us that there's no redemption possible for Wharton, that he's not a good person and that he burns in the sky? Because I don't know, I feel like killing so many people at once, I know it's like the last season and these characters didn't probably have much chance of appearing in the Testaments, at least like they appear in The Handmaid's Tale, but I feel like, I don't know, it felt really, why did you invest so much in this character if they were going to die by the end of the season? And not even like at the end of episode 10, at the end of episode 9. I don't know, there's a part of me that is thinking, June imagined the pain. June imagined the plane exploding and it didn't actually explode, and it was just her dreaming about it as she saw it go off, and then it went off and somehow, I don't know, they figured it out or they threw the case out of the plane or something like that. Like in my mind, in my paranoid mind, I'm thinking that was all inside June's head. And it didn't actually explode. And Lawrence blabbed because he doesn't want to die. And Nick is alive and will be in the Testaments. And Wharton is the big bad guy for episode 10. And I don't think he is, because I think we all know who's going to be the big bad guy for episode 10. Bell Sr., bane of my existence at the moment, with the most fertile handmaid. Jail, hanging, beheading for that man, please. Anyway, my point with this point is, what was the point of Wharton? Like, this scene between June in the cage and Wharton truly, truly broke my heart, because he's basically telling her that he's going to hang her and going to hang, like, everyone, that she's going to pay for her crimes and whatever. I mean, he doesn't tell her that he's going to hang all the handmaids, but I mean, she knows she's going to die. And she doesn't... You know how Serena reacted when she thought she was going to die? That she immediately became defensive and started defending Gilead and everything? June remains calm. Not only does she remain calm, but she grabs him and says, choose love. Like, it's not too late for you, you asshole. You can still be the man that Serena wants you to be. Like, the way that, to the very end, June is trying to appeal to him, to try to get him to understand that there is another choice, that there is another side he can be on, that there is capacity for change, that there is a space for him to exist if he recognizes that this bullshit is messed up. To the end of this conversation, she never becomes aggressive, she never becomes defensive, she never screams, punches, or like, that's what I would do. If I thought I was going to die and I was seeing like the man that is about to decide to hang me, I would want to punch him. She doesn't. Completely composed until the very end, secure of herself. It literally broke my heart. Like, I don't have that kind of strength. Whenever people start saying messed up things to me, I get so angry. I think this is one of the things I have to work on as well, if I want to continue to have conversations with people about what's happening in Portugal and elsewhere. Like, if we only get angry at them, they're going to feel victimized and marginalized, and they're going to continue to choose these people in power to manipulate them. And honestly, that you have to face a person who is basically advocating for and voting for you losing rights as a woman, as a person, and you have to face them and treat them with empathy, that if you get angry at them, it'll just justify their choice even more in their brains, is so messed up, but it's the way. Unfortunately, I hate this so much. Like, you guys are going to watch this review. Like, for me, the episode came at a perfect time. For you, this review is going to be very boring and bitter and angry and still with my goddamn red puffy eyes. Anyway, like, in another way, this conversation between them is kind of like a sword fight where he's like, you need to atone for your sins, baby girl June. You need to ask forgiveness of God because you have been truly wicked. And June is like, yeah, we know that's not what this system is about. We know that this is not the kingdom of God in heaven. We know that this is all about power. And Wharton almost smiles when she's like very calm and collected, telling him, I know what you're doing. I know the game you're playing. He almost smiles and he keeps his cool and is like, no, it's about God. Thank you for your opinion though, June. See you at the hanging. I don't love what happened with Lawrence. I don't, because I understand him being a good father figure for Charlotte and telling Naomi that Charlotte really needs to learn and needs to read and needs to be, a normal child. Naomi's not gonna do that. Lawrence, there's no way in hell that Naomi's actually going to teach her child to read. There's no way in hell Naomi's actually going to read a book to that child. And I just, the scene where Lawrence is with Serena, and Serena is basically saying, they're going to hang her. Are you sure we can't do anything? She, saved my child. She saved my baby. She literally helped me give birth. And Lawrence is like, I see what you mean. Shall we pray? Like, Lawrence literally said thoughts and prayers to June, because I can do anything. This is what I'm gonna get when I'm dying in a political prison. Thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers to you. I need to be less dramatic. Anyway, I hated the scene. Hated it so much. I wanted to, throw a glass at his head. Because, what do you mean thoughts and prayers? What do you mean she's going to be hung? She's going to be hanged, and you're sending her thoughts and prayers. What do you mean, Lawrence? I didn't like this. Like, the way that they gave his farewell, that he went into the plane and he did to June. It's like, what? You created this system. You created it. He didn't create it. He wrote a book about a different kind of country and they used it. And they just kept him there. But I think what I'm really bitter about is the fact that they gave Lawrence a complex arc of him being within Gilead and without being with Gilead and against Gilead. And Nick has been a character that has been built this entire time to do exactly that, and they don't give it to him. I think this is what I'm bitter about. It's not even the fact that Lawrence's character arc was bad, because it did make sense and it was good in the way that his character was introduced into the story, that he wasn't really the one responsible to enact all of this, that he had an idea that was similar and they took advantage of it and whatever. So with the introduction that we get for Lawrence and all of his actions during the seasons, it makes sense. What doesn't make sense to me is that they choose to prioritize this arc for Lawrence and they don't do it for Nick, because Nick had a similar thing. In fact, Nick was even a more hopeful. This is what I've been saying for so long. And Nick is such a hopeful character because he has been a good person, he has been a good man, and he has done sacrifices for June, and he's in a position where he can realize, I am a commander, I am benefiting from a system that oppresses women, I have information about this system, I can help take this system down, I'm going to join Mayday in the US military, and I'm going to give them all the information that I have to take the system down. And no, he just chooses to stay safe by aligning with the commanders. So basically to say that I hated this interaction between Serena and Lawrence, where Lawrence sends June's hanging body thoughts and prayers. Oh, and about goddamn Aunt Lydia. You know what? I've said this before in the previous video. I'm not gonna rehash that. You know that I was okay with this turning, but didn't love it. So that's where I'll stand. But Aunt Lydia has fully turned. She says that this evil man have hurt all my girls, even though all her girls are the girls that she tortured and turned into forced sex slaves. Anyway, Aunt Lydia has gotten her redemption. She has turned. And I'm curious to see how in the hell she's going to continue to be in Gilead. Because if they wanted to hang her here, and they didn't because the revolution started, how is she going to go back to being an aunt? Is it because everyone that was there is dead and no one knows that she was rebelling? Like, are they going to... I mean, yeah, it's probably going to be her joining Mayday and infiltrating as an aunt somewhere where Hannah is, right? That's how she's going to go back to being an aunt. She's going to become like Ava, a CIA infiltrated aunt. Actually, I like that. I will enjoy that in the Testaments. I will enjoy Aunt Lydia and her quivering lip. Honestly, like, I wanted them to revolt against Aunt Lydia. I wanted them to make her understand that the reason she has to turn is to pay for what she did, for all the torture that she put them through. I wanted her to understand that, because right now Aunt Lydia is turning because of all the wicked men, right? Because the horrible man in this system, the horrible man who did everything to these girls as if she didn't do anything to them. And that's not how I wanted her to turn, but whatever. I think there's a positive side to this, because all of these women have gone through this entire bullshit, and along the way they sometimes create these relationships, these like trauma bonds with other people in the system, with other commanders, guardians, and whatever. And we've seen these relationships, these bonds fail. Nick's bond failed. I don't even remember any others, but surely there are other bonds of trust that failed. So the fact that there's this one bond that is toxic, it's the bond between Janine and Aunt Lydia. It is toxic because Aunt Lydia did a lot of terrible things to Janine, but at the same time, Janine kind of became attached to her because she protected her in a way. You know, Aunt Lydia protected Janine at some point from going back to postings and whatever, even though she couldn't do it forever. So the idea that one of these toxic ass bonds actually paid off in the end is in a way comforting, because it kind of gives this idea to the girls or to Janine that, okay, she isn't that bad after all. Okay, I can trust a person I thought I could maybe trust a little bit. Okay, you know? So in that sense, I like this development for Lydia. And then at the hanging, when we see all the infiltrated Mayday US Army people coming in as Econo people, you know, walking through the crowd with knives and guns and grenades and getting ready to attack at any moment, I was feeling, I was like, finally, like, and I was so mad that it lasted so little. Like, I wanted to see minutes and minutes and minutes on end of these people, these commanders, guardians, whoever was in the way being taken down. And it was like 5 minutes or something. And also, everything has already happened. Everything that is in the goddamn previews has already happened. So what in the hell is going to happen in episode 10? Like, surely June is going to go back to camp. She's going to go back to Canada or No Man's Land or whatever the hell they are. That she's going to go back to the hospital, command center, and they're going to talk about Boston and whatever. Maybe take Boston. Is that going to be like episode 10? Them actually taking Boston and leaving like forces behind for any escaped handmaids and whatever. Maybe going back to New Bethlehem and like taking it and allowing everyone, all the reunited the people who reunited with their family members, all going back to Canada, the big exodus, and preparing for the rest of the battle to take down Gilead, getting Aunt Lydia infiltrated somewhere else, maybe Ava as well infiltrated somewhere else. I am so excited for episode 10, you guys, and the Testaments. I want to see this goddamn place burn down. I really hope that the new administration doesn't mess with this, because I don't see how the American administration is going to want a TV show about an authoritarian system being taken out. Anyway, all this to say that I really loved seeing them go through the crowd and being like, I got you, June. I'm here for you. We're going to take this place down. And all dressed in black and everything. I'm going to be honest here a little bit. That one shot, that close-up shot of Elizabeth Moss's face, I was like, oh my God, girl, not again. Like, we've seen this kind of shot so much, so often during these seasons. I was thinking, oh my God, not another one. Not another one. But then she said the thing like, revolt, rise up. And she screamed, don't let the bastards grind you down. I needed that. God damn it, did I need that. The bastards are trying to grind us down. You know what? I can't stop thinking. I can't stop thinking about what is going on inside the minds of those people that voted for this fascist party. Like, I'm trying to think of how like messed up my life would have to be for me to put hope in these people, for me to, fall for these people's lies. And I keep thinking like there's more than 1 million Portuguese people that voted for this party, for this fascist party. And I keep thinking, damn it, are that many people in my country living that shitty ass lives, that like really bad, desperate wives' lives, that their heads is so much in the dirt that this is like where they see hope for the future. Are these many people struggling this much that this is where they see hope, that they are vulnerable enough to be like manipulated by this goddamn idiot? That's what I keep thinking all the time. And it reminded me of that when I was seeing this hanging scene and all the Icona people being like, what? The handmaids? They are secret vessels. Like, how many people are this vulnerable to extremist thinking? That how many people are suffering this much in a somewhat decent country to fall like victims to this kind of thinking? That's what I'm like, it's crossing my mind all the time, because the general kind of consensus on the left and people who didn't vote for this fascist party is that we need to like see this group of people for what they are. That yes, there are elements within them that probably are racist and homophobic and whatever, but there's probably a big chunk of them that are just really, really desperate for change and don't see hope anywhere else. And that we need to engage with empathy and conversation instead of anger and resentment, which is really hard, as I said, but I agree. I mean, if someone came at me criticizing me for a decision, even if I had like the inclination that maybe it was a wrong decision, I would feel so attacked. I would go immediately on defense, like goddamn Serena, the way that I'm comparing myself to Serena. Hey, maybe that's a way for me to get empathy for her. Like seeing June on the floor with her big blue eyes looking at the sky as the planes pass by. Like, this is how we started the show, seeing her face of terror living in this goddamn place. And now we see the same face with hope, the rebellion that she has been waiting for and hoping for years since she was captured has come. Not just come, but brought to Gilead by her, partially. And she's looking at the sky and we see her face and it's like, finally. So I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. I'm gonna stop. And we see another shot from the preview. Serena at home at Lawrence's. The chandelier is shaking because bombs are falling on the city. And then out of nowhere, the door blasts open. Mark arrives with a goddamn army. They have taken it. Joy. Pure joy. I needed some joy, honestly. Mark the man that you are. By the way, speaking of military, because my country is always in goddamn elections, we're gonna have presidential elections soon. Actually, let me search when. The next elections we have is for the municipalities. I think it's like in the fall. Yeah, next year is presidential elections. But there's this person in Portugal that is, I think it's official now, that is going to run for president in 2026, and this man is from the military. He's an almirante. I don't know how to say that in English. He's like in a high position. This was the guy that was kind of coordinating the healthcare response to the COVID and shit. Like, he was dealing with COVID shit during that time, and he dealt with it well. Like the country has like a positive impression of this dude, and he's running for president, and has a military past, but I don't know, he kind of has some decent aspects to him. I haven't seen much about him, and I haven't paid too much attention because it's been the goddamn parliament elections, but I assume the campaigns will start soon for the presidential elections, and there's a lot of instability in the country. So, and I mean, Portugal has a very positive past to the military because it was the military that took down the dictatorship all the way back in the 70s. So I could see like the people looking favorably towards him, and I'm very curious to see what's going to happen. Do you know what my fear is that this person is elected, like this guy that kind of comes from the military and has a military past, and then things don't go well, and it's just another excuse for this fascist political party to be like, see, you can't even trust the military. Even the military people are shit. Because if we don't have the military on, like, on the side of the people, if the right wing rises to a point where it's an actual threat to democracy, like not just a threat, but actually taking steps against it, like it's happening in the US, and we lose like the trust of the people in the military, or we lose the like military's loyalty to the people. Like basically, if this guy gets the military on his side, we're screwed. We're screwed. That's also what I keep thinking about the US. I don't know if this is completely delusional and paranoid, if it makes any sense at all, but like, what's going to happen in the US when it comes time for another election? Like, when it comes time for Kamala to run again and Trump can't run anymore because he's done his 2 terms. Like, what's going to happen? Like, is he going to want to leave? If he doesn't want to leave, are the military going to force him? Or are the military going to back him? Like, is this even a possibility in the US? Like, people who live there and like are aware of all the politics that are happening, like, is it even a possibility that if he doesn't want to leave power, the military could back him? Do you think that could ever happen? Oh, Nick in the hospital. I'm not even mad at Nick the character at this point. I'm mad at the writers. And I was saying this, like, Nick is not a good character in the sense of you can't justify everything he does, is what I'm saying. Like, he's benefiting from a system that oppresses women hardcore. Oppresses women. He's benefiting from a system where handmaids still exist, where, as June put it, state-sanctioned assault is happening. And we have this goddamn hospital scene. And the fact that this is the motivation for Nick is sending me, because Rose went to the hospital because she ate the cake, she went to sleep, and something might have been wrong with the baby, but everything was fine in the end. So the sedatives in the cake could have been bad for her. Sure, that's messed up. She shouldn't have to have gone through that. I don't know how they could have prevented it. Maybe Lawrence could have been like, don't eat the cake or something. I don't know. I mean, he couldn't have said that because then Rose would have informed her father, obviously. But it's messed up. No doubt. Nothing should have happened to happen. Nothing should have happened to the baby, is what I mean. But the fact that Nick is using this as the motivation to finally align with Gilead is insane. Insane. Because he perceived it as being like a threat to his son. He has to align with Gilead because Mayday wants to attack his son or will risk the life of his son or whatever. What about Nicole? What about Nicole? Nick, if she was in Gilead, she would have been a wife, forced to marry you at like 13, 14, or worse. She could have been a handmaid. She could have been an aunt. She could have been a Martha. She could have been still a woman when oppressed by the system you benefit from. I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. I thought it was very weak, and it was very weak because then the goddamn plane exploded. Because what is the point? What was the point? What was the point of Nick's character? Like, what was the point of building this person that is constantly conflicted between this system that gives his life meaning, that gives him purpose as a man, that gives him protection and safety, and the person he loves, and the right choice for humanity, for the people that are being, like, what was the point of creating this person who is constantly conflicted between these two things, for them at the end to align with the system right before he dies? What was the point? What was the point? What was the point? Because if you're going to make Nick align with Gilead, at least make him do atrocious things. At least. This is my point with the point about Wharton, and this is my point with the point about Nick. What was the point? What was the point? What was the point? If we can't have one good man, what was the point? Praise the Lord, my ass, Nick. Jesus. Such a blessing, my ass, Rose. I will say this about the discussion between June and Serena, that June's argument was basically, are you really going to trust these men to protect your child when God gave us the possibility to have them and protect them as mothers? Surely he means for us to protect them, not these men. This is a silly argument, but I like this argument because it reminds me of that movie Night Bitch, where this woman who like is dealing with depression or just some mess up shit after she has to like be a stay-at-home mom and take care of her baby. She doesn't have to, like, she chose to do it, but then it was like really a strange experience for her because she was always tired and frustrated and whatever. And at one point, she has this conclusion, this realization during the film where she's talking to the other moms, and she says something like, actually, I'm going to look for the actual quote because I need to get this right. It's just such a good line, and it was floating around social media for a while there. Do you ever think that the big secret is that we are gods? I mean, we create life. We are so powerful. Men must be so scared of us. That's what this reminded me of. Why are we putting all our faith in men? Why are we assuming that men are the rulers of the universe when we are the ones who are creating life? Where we are the ones with the insane capacity to endure pain? Where we are the ones that are capable of destroying our own bodies to bring a baby into this world? How are we like assuming that men are the protectors when we are those bitches? Maybe we are the gods, since we create life. That's the vibe I had from this conversation with June and Serena, and that vibe I adored. This video is an hour long. Oh my god, you guys are gonna hate me. You guys are gonna hate me, especially because I'm not even being like entertaining. I'm just talking in the most monotone tone of voice. Anyway, if you don't watch it, you don't watch it. I'm at least having fun. I'm not having fun. I'm not having fun. Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm having fun fantasizing about the downfall of the right wing in the world. Not the right wing. It's not what I mean to say. The right wing is okay. The downfall of the extremists in the world. I'm not gonna lie to you. When I saw June and Lawrence going to the airport together, I thought this was a ploy by Lawrence, because at this point I was still thinking that Lawrence was the one to betray them and who told the guards to be at that goddamn checkpoint and who arrested the handmaids to be hanged. So at this point I was still thinking, don't go with him. The plane is already going to be filled with commanders and he's going to to tell them of your plan and you're going to be arrested and hanged. But no. He was going to go into the plane and leave the case, and then they arrived. Courage looks good on you, Joseph. It should have been courage looks good on you, Nick. We'll never, ever forgive them for this. Not ever. If they did it with Lawrence, they could have done it with Nick. I'm so sorry. I understand anyone who is like, no, I like this because he was a commander. He was just like them. I like this ending. I will respect that opinion. I don't think that. I don't think that way. Like, when the commanders arrive and Lawrence is still outside of the plane, like, he knows immediately, like, he decides right then and there, he knows what's gonna happen, and it's just like, Nick had this kind of courage in him. Why couldn't it have been both of them? Why could, and you see what I mean? Why was Wharton defending Lawrence? Why was Wharton being like, yeah, we need everyone we can get. We need different perspectives. Why are we getting this view of Wharton as a person who is a commander but is flexible enough to certain things if he's just going to be exploded in the sky 5 seconds later? I don't understand the purpose of this like small hints of character development for Wharton if he's just going to die right then and there. Like, in my mind, I'm thinking that June imagined the goddamn plane blowing up, or that's like a part of the plane because it's close enough to the ground is going to be like still with survive, or I don't know, something. And as Wharton is calling him to the plane, you see like his resigned face of shit, this is it. It could have been Nick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone who is like, Nick is a bad guy, girl. I'm sorry, but I mean... And then Lawrence looks back at June and does the goddamn hand on the chest. I'm like, I understand. They went through a lot. Like, I respect it. I felt it, but... Like, I can't believe this is the big thing for Nick in episode 9. Because when, like, the thing came out that Nick was gonna have, like, a big decision, and in episode 9, like, he has this big... I thought he was going to finally align, truly, fully align with Mayday. That maybe he would, I don't know, fake his death and live with them and give them every single piece of information baby boy has about Gilead. And no, his choice is to become a full-blown commander and go to DC and plan the revenge attack. Nick, you are going to DC to plan revenge on the death of SAers. And there's this moment when he's walking, like, to the plane where he stops and it almost feels like he's going to turn to June, almost like he can feel that she's there, and he just goes in. And I think this was a moment to be like him pondering his decision, him thinking if this is really what he wants to do, if he really wants to join the other commanders and be a full-blown commander and completely aligned with Gilead. And he just lifts his head up, resigns himself to this shit, and just walks in. And that conversation between Lawrence and Nick, where Lawrence is basically saying, you should have listened to June when she told you to get out. You should have. Actually, Nick, you should have. But... because what's the point? What's the point of you protecting your baby now that you're going to be dead? What's going to happen to Rose? Because you're dead, her father is dead, who the hell does she have now? Is she going to have to marry Senior Bell? And the fact that Nick even sits next to Lawrence, like Lawrence moves the case and Nick sits in that seat and has the audacity, as he is choosing Gilead's side, has the audacity to ask, how is she? Handmaid's Tale creators, you are not seeing heaven. You're not seeing heaven. You better create it on Earth because you're never seeing it in the sky. I can't stand this. I can't stand this because the way that he's saying, she told me I should give all of this up, is like as if June told him that he should stop smoking. Or like stop going to a job that treats him badly. It's a fascist regime. It's an authoritarian regime. You're not talking about smoking. He's talking about it so casually. She told me to give all this up many times. Yeah. Why are you being so casual about that? Why are you being so like, oh, she told me to quit smoking so many times. I didn't listen to her. And now I'm here full-blown smoking a joint. I'm like, Nick, you're talking about an authoritarian regime that thrives on oppressing women. Was it casual? No, it shouldn't be casual, Nick. Painful. This is just painful. It's painful for the character. It's painful for me. It's gonna be painful for you. It's painful for June. It's painful for everyone. And I was a little bit afraid that she was going to run to him and be like, Nick, no. But she's got her head in the right place. We see you, June. There is absolutely zero chance that either Lawrence, Nick, or Wharton survived because they're all around the goddamn case. If anyone survived, it was the ones in the back, not them for sure. So either June imagined the explosion, either it's like in her head and it didn't actually explode, or they're all dead. They're all dead. There's no way that it exploded like that with that many fragments coming down and they were right next to the bomb and they didn't die. I am so surprised by this like ending of this episode. I didn't think it would come this fast. Like, Jesus, geez Louise, lemon squeeze, Daniel and Denise, flight, fight, or freeze. And I knew they were going to do this, like showing the explosion in her face first. Good one. And you know what? I bet that what June is going to tell Nicole about Nick is going to be like, despite everything, that's going to be the goddamn Handmaid's Tale. I bet you. That's going to be the goddamn Handmaid's Tale. It's going to be June holding Nicole, telling her about her father and being like, you know, he was a good man in the bad situation. Guarantee it. It's going to be the ending of the goddamn season. Just you wait. Just you wait. And when the creators said that this season is going to be fan service, they very much lied. And I appreciate the game. I appreciate the game. And that's it. We started with Taylor Swift, bad bitch music, and we ended with funeral music. I will not drag this out even more. This is already a goddamn... You're not going to watch all of this. There's no one here watching at this point. So just, if anyone stayed, I'm so sorry it was so long. Anyway, you guys, thank you for watching. I know for sure all of my thoughts about this are not on the video because they never are. I always develop a lot more ideas and opinions about this as I talk to you guys in the comments. So be sure to comment. Let's continue the discussion there. This is the lamest thing a YouTuber can say on a video. Let's continue the discussion on the comments. However, this time I really need you guys to do that because that's where my ideas start coming, is when you guys start questioning all of my theories and opinions, which I like very much. Thank you. As I was saying, I'm in a very weird mood. You're getting a lot of authenticity here because I just don't have the energy to be fully committed to expressing all of my emotions about this episode. That's why I'm very monotone right now. But yeah, I enjoy this episode so much. Start pointing out the mistakes. I'll go with it because I just goddamn enjoyed it. As for Nick, it hasn't sunk in yet. Let's see if it does as you guys write crying emojis in my comments. Yeah, guys, thank you for watching. As usual, if you want to support me and the work that I do here at the channel, you can leave me a like, comment, subscribe, join the membership on YouTube. I want to start doing something fun with that in the future. I have some ideas for some little changes for the channel that might be coming soon. You can also support me on my Patreon. It's a little slow there right now, but I'm trying to get into more stuff. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe. Don't go insane with all these right-wing assholes, extremist assholes. And I will see you probably tomorrow. I might do a predictions video on Handmaid's Tale, but I also might be too much out of energy because the country is going insane. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, see you eventually. Bye.